Niccolo Machiavelli, 1469 to 1527. Niccolo Machiavelli was born in Florence, in Italy, on 3rd May 1469, which was controlled by the powerful Medici family with Lorenzo de' Medici, the Magnificent, at its head. In 1494, Charles VIII of France invaded Italy and defeated the Medici rulers. In 1498, Republic was established in Florence, which was overthrown in 1512. The Medici family returned to rule Florence. The Medici accused Machiavelli of conspiring against the Medici regime. He was imprisoned and tortured and then sentenced to a life of exile. He was granted amnesty, and as a token of gratitude, he dedicated the prince to the Medici family, Lorenzo II de' Medici. The prince is addressed to any ruler who would unite Italy and save it from the invaders across Alps. He also wrote the discourses and the art of war. Machiavelli was witness to a series of tragedies which made Machiavelli conclude that unless Italy was united under a strong central government, it will remain under the threat of invasion and annexation by either France or Spain. This plight of Italy led him to find remedies for the deplorable state of affairs. The Prince is the most celebrated work of Machiavelli, written in 1514, published in 1531 after his death in 1527 at the age of 58 years. The prince is in the form of advice rendered to a prince on statecraft. The advice rendered to the prince on statecraft by Machiavelli are as follows. First point, selection of advisors. Machiavelli advised the prince to select his advisors and officers carefully and remove them if they are disloyal. The prince should give his advisors full liberty to speak. After hearing their opinions, the prince should deliberate by himself and take decisions. Therefore, it is necessary for the prince to choose wise men and not flatterers. Second, combine qualities of a lion and a fox. Machiavelli believed that for a prince to succeed, he should have the valor and courage of a lion and cunningness and shrewdness of a fox. This is because a lion can ward off wolves and a fox can seize traps. Machiavelli suggested that if a ruler wants to be successful, he should have the courage to find his enemies and cunningness to detect conspiracies. Third, realization of importance of history. Machiavelli held the view that the prince should imitate great figures of the past. According to Machiavelli, history tended to repeat itself rather than create new things. Hence, Machiavelli cautioned the prince that if the lessons of history was ignored, it would bring grief. Fourth point, loved and feared. Prince should be loved as well as feared. Machiavelli believed that it is difficult for the two to go together. So it is better to be feared than loved. Machiavelli warned the prince that even if he is feared, he must be careful not to be hated. To achieve this, he should abstain from taking his subjects' property or their women, because people forget easily the death of their father but not the loss of their inheritance. He should not tax his subjects. He should not interfere in age-old customs and traditions of the people, because people are conservative by nature. He should also keep an eye on dissidents. Machiavelli held the view that the prince should not be too generous, kind, or merciful to his subjects, because the subjects become too demanding. Fifth, maintain strong army. Machiavelli recommended that the prince should maintain a powerful, independent, regular, and faithful army consisting of its own citizens to meet internal and external threat and for the preservation of the state. The army should not only defend its national borders but must be prepared to expand its territory. The expansion of territory should not destroy the wealth and institutions of the natives, because the cost of devastation for the conquered and the conqueror will be high. Machiavelli reminded the prince that family members of the conquered territory of another prince should be eliminated. Otherwise, they will plan their revenge by retaliating and causing grievous injury. The army must be disciplined. Otherwise, they harm innocent citizens or even the ruler himself. Machiavelli stressed on compulsory military training for all able persons. Sixth, establishment of monarchy. According to Machiavelli, government is not created by God to punish men for their sin, but created due to the incapability of men. If men are corrupt and selfish, then to build a strong state, to develop the moral character of its people, and to check people's selfishness, it is necessary to find a strong prince with absolute powers. Therefore, Machiavelli favored monarchy for vicious people, while republic is meant for people who are virtuous, and where the prince will be honest and ethical. Thus, he held the view that republic had a great chance of survival when established by individuals who were good, rather when it was founded by mean and crafty individuals. Seventh, strong character. Machiavelli held the view that the prince should not be afraid of taking strong and prompt decisions, and also employing cruelty for establishing an orderly regime. However, Machiavelli reminded the prince that he should not misuse his power, because it would create distrust and hostility towards him, leading to the loss of his state and creating a state of instability. Therefore, the prince should act judiciously depending on the existing situation. In spite of using harsh means, people will forgive him for the means he adopted once they realize the results. Machiavelli warned the prince not to wage a war unless he has considered his resources, and also reminded him that if a war is waged for a trivial reason, it cannot be stopped easily. Moreover, Machiavelli believed that it would be a mistake to avoid war that was necessary, and would be foolish to initiate and prolong war that was unnecessary. According to Machiavelli, prince should be a defender of weaker states, because in case of a common victory, he will have marginal gains, and in case of defeat, he will have minimal losses. 8. Role of lawgiver. Machiavelli viewed human beings as evil, wicked, selfish, egoistic, ambitious, restless, corrupt, and opportunist by nature. Human needs are unlimited, and due to limited fortunes, it is not possible to fulfill demands. Therefore, there is dissatisfaction, and hence there is constant strife and anarchy, which is detrimental to the community. Individuals desire personal safety and security of possessions. Therefore, Machiavelli instructed the prince to comprehend human nature before the prince adopts reform to remove corruption in society, shape the national character of the people, balance the ambition of the elite and other classes, and to channelize the intellectual and the physical power of the people. The prince will thus be able to establish a successful state and a society of lasting good only on the basis of force and not persuasion. 9th, dealing with corruption. Corruption to Machiavelli meant inequities in wealth and power, lack of peace and justice, disorderly ambition and growth of lawlessness, dishonesty and contempt for religion. According to Machiavelli, corruption leads to subordination of public values and the use of public sphere for promoting private aims and interests. Existence of corruption excluded the common man from playing an active role in government and public life. Machiavelli also believed that corrupt men lacked the strength to prevent those in power from advancing their private interest, and if given an opportunity, they would use the political clout to pursue their private interests. A strong prince with maximum powers needs to accept public virtue as the common goal for the entire state. He needs to have faith in the system and in persons by whom he was entrusted for not only ending corruption but also for the development of individuals. According to Machiavelli, civic virtue in a ruler and in ordinary person was different. In a ruler, it meant martial qualities essential to defend the state from external aggression and internal disunity. And in ordinary individuals, it meant public spiritedness and patriotism necessary for securing freedom and preventing tyranny. 10th, separate religion and morality from politics. Ancient and medieval thinkers believed that religion was the basis of the state. Machiavelli broke away from the traditional view by separating religion from politics, but he did not ignore religion and morality. Machiavelli suggested that the prince should appear to have qualities which are counted as good, and he should behave in such a manner so that he is regarded as the embodiment of mercy, good faith, integrity, kindliness, and religion. Thus, Machiavelli recognized the effectiveness of religion as a useful weapon to be used by the ruler in achieving the ends of the state. Machiavelli advised the prince that in order to be free from corruption and for the maintenance of the state, it was essential to preserve religious observances and to treat religion with proper reverence. He advised the prince to do everything possible to cultivate belief in religion, even if the ruler had little faith in religion. He warned the prince that decline of reverence for religion would lead to disaster. Machiavelli wanted to use the church as an instrument for creating national customs and habits of thought, which will help the state in preserving peace and order and maintaining the stability of society. Machiavelli distinguished between pagan and Christian morality. He upheld paganism. He dismissed the Christian view that the individual was endowed with divine elements. He rejected the idea of absolute good. He upheld the Christian views on the differences between good and evil. He gave only instrumental value to religion because it could be used by the ruler to influence people to pursue ends which he is seeking to achieve. It cannot be given a place above or outside the state. Similarly, moral or religious considerations cannot bind the prince as he is above and outside them. Thus, Machiavelli separated religion from politics, which led for the emergence of the secular state. Therefore, state is non-religious and secular and has to follow its own rules of conduct. Machiavelli believed that Italy needed a religion similar to the one that ancient Rome had, that is, a religion of civic virtues which taught to serve the interests of the state. Therefore, a ruler should see that the standard of private morality does not decline in the society. It brought an end to the alliance between statecraft and soulcraft and marked the beginning of modern political thought and practices. According to Machiavelli, state is the highest form of human organization and necessary institution for the protection and promotion of human welfare. Therefore, he placed state above morality, and the reasons are as follows. A. He held that the state and private citizens cannot be placed at par and governed by the same general rule of morality. B. He believed that the state would never succeed if it relied on moral means to control the egoistic and aggressive tendencies of men. He held the view that where the safety of the country is in question, every means used is justified if it leads to the desired end. C. He recommended adoption of even immoral means because according to Machiavelli, the state was neither moral nor immoral. It was non-moral. For Machiavelli, the only factor that determined whether a policy is sound or unsound depended on its effect on the security of the state. Thus, Machiavelli stood for double standard of morality because he insisted that morality is essential for people and not for the ruler. Only moral citizens obey laws and sacrifice their lives for the state. It cultivates civic sense and patriotic spirit.